Okay. Hello, Patricia, Priscilla. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming in loud and clear. Thank
Good. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you. I just make sure that everybody can hear me. All right. Okay, so we are going to start our weekly so-called teaching or sharing. Uh, it's not really that so-called. The text that we are covering is very, very, very important. It's very precious text, meaning it's teaching. And the author that given this teaching is very much like experiential teaching. Experiential teaching. Am I pronouncing well? Yeah. Meaning he was just embodied the compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom, knowledge, and his heart is really like big. You can't really measure with it. There's no tool in the, I don't think there's any kind of machine entire of the universe that you can really measure this kind of heart and mind. I'm not, I maybe, I don't think so. I mean, even you try everything you can, put every dollars you have, put every time you have, try to measure this kind of compassion. Uh, Probably they have some, but in the future. At the moment, in this today world, probably not. And he was really, he was actually the, Gyalse Tokme Zangpo, you know. So we're talking about the 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas, which was written by a Tibetan, great practitioner, teacher of 13th, 14th century, let's say 14th century. And then his teaching is still so much vibrantly alive in many, many different, societies, and in Tibet, in the Himalaya, in India, in Nepal, in Bhutan, and in Mongolia, and then for the last, I don't know, a couple of hundreds, it's actually reached to the Western world, meaning USA, I mean North America, Europe, Australia, everywhere, which is so precious. It's more like a people often say this, that the teaching that come from India, from the Lord Buddha, 2,500 years before, who Buddha Shakyamuni, or the another term used, a Prince Siddhartha, who appeared on this earth, and he was from very young age looking some profound meaning for your life, rather than just running after this shallow, like a temporary kind of pleasure. He was always in deep in meditative meditation, trying to observe the reality. Why this trouble coming? Why everybody? Why some people suffer so much? Why these animals suffer so much? What are the causes? He was keep contemplating, and at the same time reflecting, try to understand the true nature of your life, and then the causes of your life. Even though he was born as a prince, who have the worldly, needs, everything is there. But he wasn't satisfying what we had at the palace. And then he found the truth, which is try to transform your mind, just, understand, you're saying, your name, sorry. Megan, you wanted to know about the contaminated karma and action, right? So this is, yeah, we're, just a little kind of introduction that we are doing now. What are we doing? Because we have new people here. Anyway, so we'll start doing, setting our proper motivation as usual. Okay, and it's really important to create the environment pure, meaning, proper motivation, meaning, let's say it consists of two part. When you do this short, you could call it meditation, you could call it try to understand your mind, you try to familiarize your action, your mind, your body and speech, right? So then for that, what do we need to do, how we start? Just imagine that your parent, your teacher, or like if you have any spiritual kind of guru or teachers, you can visualize in front of you in person, Buddha Shakyamuni and all the, like we call it enlightened being, meaning those who have devoted their life for the others, only the sake of others, looking after them like the parent taking care of their children or grandchildren, and just visualize or maybe just bring them in front of you in person very vividly and clearly. That's, another technical kind of term. It's like a object of refuge that you need to visualize in front of you. Take a moment and just make sure that your body posture is relaxed and it's natural. Just forget everything else. If you have any work demand and any plan for the day or tomorrow or next, just forget everything else. Just be present at the moment and visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the enlightened beings in front of you and looking up on you like the parent looking at you with their only child. And you're here to transform your mind, change your mind toward the betterment, meaning wanted to be more compassionate person or more loving, caring, more patient, more understanding. This is your motivation, okay? And then another term we use, it's like a bodhicitta field, like object of refuge and a bodhicitta, like a object of bodhicitta, meaning why you're doing the practice. You are doing the practice for the benefit of all sentient beings, not only you. So for that, you just imagine that all other mother sentient beings around you, surround you. And number one, just think about your parents, the immediate parents, grandparents, and then children, cousin, and friends, families, and relatives, and neighborhood, and all living beings, non-living aside. Just slowly, think that everybody is just around you, and you are just imagine that you just imagine that you are eldest, the elder child in your family, and you're the elder child in your family, and you're responsible for the younger one. Just imagine that, okay? So now we have visualized the object of refuge and the bodhicitta fields, and then we are going to do a few minutes of very, like a meditation on the breathing. This is what you need to, it's called like a calm abiding meditation or shamatha, another word. The main purpose is try to get away from one mind wandering and mind, mental laxity and mental excitement, and bring up your mind back to your way, what you are exactly doing. Okay, so let's do a few minutes of focus your breath. When you do the breathing, very gentle and natural. Breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in and breathe out. Just focus on the breathing. And then just make sure that your body posture is in right. The main thing is your spine should be really straight, but not really tense. When you do this, sometimes you get like a pain in your shoulder. Really, very relaxed manner. And you can put your hand on your knees, or you could put, the proper way. The other in the proper one is like you put your right hand on the left hand, and then the two thumbs slightly touch. But if that if you find difficult with that, you just put whatever is comfortable. That's the most important. Yeah. Okay, now. Anybody need a copy? Okay. Yeah. Need a copy, definitely. Good. Thank you. This is one we can share. Share. This is it. I need to make a common copy, I guess. This one outline. Okay, so last, I think we cover up to verse 8, and then you're going to do the verse number 9, right? And those of you are new today, it has this, we cover it has actually, when you say like 37 practice of bodhisattvas. I just briefly mention what does it mean. Maybe even if you don't know, maybe I just say what I think and what I've learned for many, many years in Dharamsala. And I just try to understand, but I'm not there yet, but I'm very inspired with this teaching. So the 37 practice of Bodhisattva, it's a mind training. It's a mind training teaching. There's a very famous, in Tibetan Buddhist teaching, mind training, meaning you have to train your mind. You can train your mind. It means a lot, right? When you say that, and how can you really train that? And if you have this, our mind has so many different thoughts are there, discovery thoughts, competitive thought, and mind and mental factors. This is very important to study in the future. Sometimes we find time. What does it mean, the mind, and what does it mean, the mental factors, and how many different types of primary mind, and then the second, I don't know, secondary or mental factors usually call it. The primary mind, we have 5. I know, the modern scientists or neuroscientists will say different terms they have, but in the classical Indian or the Tibetan traditional teaching, where you say mind and mental factors, and then what does it mean by mind? Mind means like there are primary mind and then secondary. And then how many primary mind? We have 6 primary mind, or mind consciousness. And then another term, what? Sem Yit Namshi. Sem Yit Namshi. Sem Yit Namshi. Sem. Consciousness, mind, another word, awareness. So these are, we call it like synonymous. It's the same, meaning same. And then consciousness, I know that many of the modern scientists, when you say consciousness is someone who is awake, is conscious, someone is unconscious. I don't know. What do you say when you're sleeping? Are you unconscious or what? Unconscious. Maybe how? Why? This is the question we could ask. When you sleep, are you really unconscious? Whatever if you dream, really clear thing. You're dreaming.
Shifted to another.
Dream mind is very important to study. I think those who are connected with like in a university or maybe research area where you are doing a lot of research about the mind training, consciousness, compassion training, and different terms that you use. Many people who say that when you're sleeping, maybe you're unconscious, but in reality, no, because we have, why I said that 5 my primary mind or consciousness, the sensory consciousness. In this classical text, we call it consciousness. But the eyes, it's interesting. Maybe if someone is very new with this kind of term, you may feel it's kind of odd. I would say something that for me, when I was listening some very, very kind of modern neuroscientist presentation about the eyes and the ears and they it's what is that? So everything is just explaining with the brain and the eye, in the auditory and the no, what do you call it? The five senses and now the physical senses and how it works. It was really difficult to understand what does that really mean, and we just start arguing. What is if that is the case? What that? Whatever that? Then many of these scientists said, "Oh, you have to just study and listen exactly what the modern science, scientists have present about how our eye works, eye sensor work, ear, nose, tongue, and what do you call it, like tactile, and then the mental consciousness." But most of the modern scientists would explain with the physical, the connection with the brain, and then there's some of the external stimulus that you receive, and then the signal go to the brain, and then the brain recognize that you see the color, you hear the sound, you smell the kind of good food, or you feel some kind of soft touch or rough touch. This is tactile sort of thing. It is there, it is a phenomena, it's existent, definitely there. But then when it comes to the classical, text explanation, external things are just an object, and the five sensory consciousness is just very much, it's unreliable. I think I remember say one time there was four reliance. Have you heard that? Yeah, right? Four reliance. Four reliance. Maybe write down. It will be good to know this. Reliance. Really, I rely, no, depend. Another word is reliance. For reliance. Meaning, do not rely on the sensory consciousness, rely on the mental consciousness. What does that mean is you have to, yeah, just write down, and then we could do more. Rely on the mental consciousness instead of sensory consciousness, and rely on the teaching instead of for the person, and then rely on the definitive teaching instead of the interpretative teaching, and then rely on the meaning instead of the word. Because some people may have beautiful word, poetic word, very elegant presentation could be made like maybe a couple hours, beautiful with a body charts, beautiful, physical kind of gesture, nice tune. And at the end of the talk, if you think of what did he or she talk, maybe you haven't find much. It's kind of weird, but what is the meaning? So because of that, you said rely on the meaning instead of the word. This is quite important kind of thing. You find in different teachings like that. So why I say sensory consciousness are not reliable, but the mental consciousness is more reliable. But don't worry, you don't have to worry about that, why it is that. Because we are, the verse number 9 actually talk about, and where is it? Okay. Verse number 9 is talking about it goes much deeper. If you want to go to stick with a very technical thing, it's quite deep. Where it says, happiness in 3 realms, like dew on a blade of grass, is subject to the subject to instantaneous fading away, right? Have you seen that? I was reading in this tag. I like this translation somehow, but in the same, yeah, it's a same meaning. Yeah, exactly. Like dew on the tip of the blade of grass, pleasures of the 3 worlds last only a while and then vanish. Aspire to the never-changing supreme state of liberation. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas, right? This is the translation, but here it says happiness in the 3 realms, like dew on blades of grass. It's a subject to intensity. I think this, I don't know, my English is not that good, but I'm learning. Instantly, the meaning is like immediately, it's just like a very short moment and it just, vanish. Yeah. Very.
Three worlds.
Okay, yeah. The three worlds, the three realms. We could, yes, you got it. Yeah. So here, there's number 9 where you said the three world or the three realms. They use three worlds, three realms. In different names are there. And what are they? Desire realms, forms realms, and formless realms. And in Buddhist cosmology, we explain there's countless universe. And we are actually in the milking galaxy, and out of that there's so many, I don't know what do you call it, like galaxy, and then I don't know, planets and different things, and we have like, I don't know, 7 or 8 planets. We are on the, like Earth planet, right? Jupiter, I don't know how there were like a numbers of them are there. Anyway, there's countless universe. And I think many of the physicists, I guess, they are discovering new thing, and we are building new technology, maybe camera that you could trace back to so many different, for so long. Like, I don't know what you call that, Hubble telescope, where you could look at back to how many the universe, the age of the universe, and then how old our planet, and then are there new burning, and then the star, evolving, finishing. This star system are there, and it also, in Buddhist text called Abhidharma Kosh, where you talk a lot about the Buddhist, world system. The chapter 3, it deal a lot about this. Okay, so the three worlds are, it's a really classical text, mentioning there. Desire, it's called desire rams. It'll come to your question. Desire rams, form rams, and formless rams. What you need to know, you need just try to learn the word, and then we can go a little bit, deeper. What does they really mean? Okay, so we are in the desire rams. We all, the human, animals, and then like there are, we call gods and goddesses. Have you heard that? Do we believe that, do we think that there are beings other than animals and human in this world system?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, right? So because of that, we are in desire realm. So why we call it desire realms? We are just under the sway of this sensual pleasure. It is very much, we think that these are our ultimate, kind of goals, ultimate happiness. If you have a good house, beautiful house, and you think that we are really enjoying, that's our, we work so hard, spend a lot of time, and that's why we get so stressed. It's true. Really, if you think deeply, it's really true. And then the whole education system, like, there are many education saying, I mean, those who are really thinking deeper than that, just only this moment or this life, or maybe even in this life, they're planning like 70, 80 years that I will live, and I have to make sure that everything is perfect. There's nothing perfect. I'm sorry, but everything perfect. Of course, the aspiration is good. Everything should be perfect. But what do you mean by perfection? The desire rams contaminated here. Contaminated mean it's just contaminated with affliction. Another word we use is affliction. Do you get any sense what that is mean, affliction?
Yes.
See, attachment, aggression, aversion, competitive, jealousy, and they're all rooted by ignorance. It's called contaminated because it's very much contaminated with ignorance. We are not knowing the reality as it is really. But we have the seed of the profession. We have our mind have the power that we will be able to know what is reality, what is not reality. And then in Buddhist teaching, it will come in the little era about how things exist and how it appear to our mind and how we really exist. We are just believing what sees from there. And then we run after that, we chase after that, and then we get trouble into that. It's actually subjective, actually. We are creating. It's not really there. We are creating. Okay? So desire runs. We are in desire rams, and desire meaning that we are so much under the influence of desire, attachment, and then we think, it's misconceiving the reality, misconceiving the reality. Because of that, we suffer. Because of that, we really suffer. And you can get a lot of example. You could, it's something is very much kind of inevitable that you could see in your own family, right? Or maybe take your own life, like and there's when you look at the world, and you could find there's so many uncertainties are there, right? People try to get education, try to get the best job, and they can try to, earn as much as possible, and try to get the best of the house or the car or the maybe marriage, or I don't know, whatever there. And do you really find kind of, real satisfaction in your life? Do you really see like a good purpose with that kind of facilities? Yes, more or less, definitely. More or less, yes, definitely you get. But if materialism, right? If material external thing bring you like the ultimate happiness, then the billionaires and then they should be really happy, and there's a big boss should, those they should be really happy. But are they really happy or not? And deep down, yeah, it creating more suffering, right? It creating more conflict. It's more kind of a misunderstanding, more division, more fighting, more what do you call it? More distrust, creating more distrust among human society. Conflict. This is this is the whole. Any the many of this good thinker, they said the modern education system is oriented, job oriented education, or money oriented education. I think that's really true. It is really true. And then how can you really re-educate our children and re-educate ourselves and try to learn from this wisdom tradition? There are, tradition exists in many different places, many different world, not only India or Buddhism. And of course, some Buddhist teaching is something really relevant in this modern society. It's not really about other people to convert into like a religion or the faith as such, but try to get the essence of this teaching and then learn and try to implement it or apply in your life and then test it. So because of that, what it says here, the three rams, where was that? Like dew on the ship. Okay, this actually teach about how things change so fast. It's also teach about the impermanence of life. Impermanence of life. Are we agree? Are we ready? Are we okay? If you die soon? You have to be, you can, nobody can stop you, right? Nobody can stop you, but it'll come naturally. But while you're living here, try to be nice to each other. That's the essence kind of advice you need to get from the verse. You say happiness in this world like a dew on a blade of grass. It just lasts very moment. So don't fight for just very small thing like childish, like a little child. I mean, some child is really pure. I love child. I don't know why. And subjects mean like it's changed very it's it just vanish very quickly. Yeah, it's just in the nature of suffering. It's just in the nature of suffering. But why it is that? And because the causes are contaminated. Okay, ignorance brought it. Ignorance, and then another. There's a sequence how ignorance actually create all this confusion or the drama. Because of not knowing, we exaggerate that something good, something bad, something neutral, and then it's very bad. Some people see like, okay, we create like three kind of group people: enemy, friends, or near dear one, and then neutral. But in reality, they are all our friends. In reality, they are all our, like a family in a way. But we say it's my friends because it's helped me. There's a selfish there. Egos and selfish always mixed there. Self-cherishing mind, another word, self-cherishing mind. We need to learn. We need to learn how to, how to exchange self-cherishing and other cherishing mind. How to increase the other cherishing mind, meaning other cherishing mind stronger, and then weakening the self-cherishing. And it's not easy, definitely, for ordinary people. There's a possible that you can do. And then, because my friend, there's some kind of egoistic, or the self self-cherishing, the selfish is there, and then we exaggerate it. Everything is perfect. Okay, for example, taking like a Monica is my friend and the rest not. If I said, if I look at that, everything what she does, everything what she does, everything she what she wear, I said everything is perfect and the rest are not. But I'm exaggerating that. I'm exaggerating that. There's a good thing with her, definitely. There's really nice thing with her, definitely. But I'm exaggerating too much and exaggerating, and then said, this is the center of universe, and the rest not. If I do that, I'm very biased and I'm actually exaggerating. That's another term called inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention. I'm putting exaggerating the quality of her because of me. I'm exaggerating the quality of her because of me, not really anything else. And that's what, because of that, we say enemy, like a friend. And if someone else come to say, make some kind of a unfavorable action to her, and I'll go to fight with them. That's the creating the contaminated karma. That's I'm creating the contaminated karma. This is one example. And then same thing about the enemy. We say enemy meaning because he or she did something wrong for me, or maybe temporarily wrong for me. But then because of that, you hate so much. He didn't help me. He did this, and he hurt me in the past, and he's hurting now. Maybe he will be hurting in the future for me. And there's a little slight disagreement definitely with that, or something that you do not agree with that, or maybe something because of lack of understanding. Maybe there was some unfavorable thing happen. Then I'm exaggerating again. He is the monster. I was just creating all this, because of my selfishness, and creating all this, like negative qualities for him, and then hate, and then conflict. This, exaggerating good qualities for the friends, near and dear one, exaggerating the bad qualities or the negative qualities of the enemies or the so-called enemy. There's no enemy, but we just create enemy, friends, and neutral. But we are all connected. If you think very deeply, everything is very much connected. Morning friends, evening become so-called enemy. Maybe a couple hours before, enemies, a couple hours later, it could become friends. Things are just, there's nothing that fixed, right? Nothing is fixed. So this is the nature of impermanent. This is the nature of impermanent. So because of if you understand, like the nature of impermanency, the nature of life, and our mind could go like it could quite easily flow for anybody. So that's why you call it mind training, right? The verse number 9, which is really nice. I mean, sorry, it's very important verse in the Tibetan. But anyway, the English word and the translation is beautiful, definitely. Sisum de watsa zi ba jing yizim jigi jik bi chu jing yin. Nam ya min yo tabe ko ma cha tun de ge wa da. Do not really, another thing, if you attach to this life, this is just, we are just attaching so much of this life, very this moment. If you attach to this, it's very narrow-minded. We make ourselves really small, but the mind has the capacity to expand furthermore. This is really interesting and important, kind of verse. It has, right? What do you think? It has a meaning, right? Profound meaning there, right? Definitely. Subject to change, fading away. And this also teaches us to not attach so much. Also think about that, life is uncertain. The life came to being because of cause and condition. It will change. It doesn't last that long. And while you are still, live with harmoniously, live with, just try our best to benefit each other. There's no way, if there's no kind of capacity that you can benefit each other, but at least what we can do is not harm. And harm also, you have like this, harming doesn't really mean you have to come with a knife or the gun and, shoot. If our mind is very ill willing toward that person, that's also harming another one. So, there's so many, layers are there. Okay. Strive to supreme state of liberation. This text uses liberation, but liberation is nothing than freedom. Freedom, another free, or also again, the word freedom is here called free from affliction. Okay, we need to get free from attachment, free from aversion, free from jealousy, free from contaminated. Another word, contaminated. We are polluted. I want to free from that. Is there a way that you can free from that? Yes, definitely, because our true nature of mind is clear. It's like a precious gem, but we are not discovering it because of the temporarily, this same as, the sky where the cloud, cover, you can see the clear blue sky. So, but then the cloud will go away, right? You clear up, and then you could see the blue, sky very, directly. Similarly, the true nature of the mind we can discover by removing this mental dirt slowly, slowly. And how do you really remove? By seeing these are not helpful for me. I need to just remove them slowly, slowly, and then increase this, the opposite. Instead of jealousy, maybe generous. Instead of attachment, maybe more kind of generous again, right? There's always some, like a counter for each of them. But the ultimate, remedy, or the ultimate kind of medicine to remove affliction is realizing emptiness. Have you heard that? In the wisdom of emptiness, another word, wisdom of emptiness, with the understanding of interdependency. Interdependent, okay? And then I think maybe learn about what does interdependent mean. It have three different levels. Maybe write down that. Interdependence of cause and effect. Maybe just write, maybe write down, and then we can do some in a kind of a reflection with that. Interdependence, cause and effect. So, effect fruit. Take an example like apple in a seed and apple tree. If you plant the apple in seed, you'll get the apple tree, right? These are in an example of interdependency of cause and effect. And then another one is interdependence of parts and whole. P-A-R-T, parts. Interdependence of parts and whole. And then the third one is the subtlest one, which called interdependence of mere mental designation. Interdependence of mere mental designation. Mere, M-E-R-E, mere. That's important. Mere mental designation. Just write down and we put that. The first two is quite, I think it's not that easy, but if you go in deeper, obviously it looks like, if you just give you one example, it's quite easy. But why I said here, why we have to be nice to each other, meaning we are all depend each other. It is a cause and effect, kind of dependencies are there. I think it's a cause and effect, meaning cause and karma and a result. And another word, karma, in a Buddhist text often use karma. Karma is nothing than action. And then also, yeah, we were talking about the mind. Mind is the main thing that, intention is the main thing. And the verbal and the physical, these are kind of gross. But yes, and where were we? Interdependency, cause and effect, and interdependence of whole and part. Whole and part here, we can do some experiment about that. One easy one is, for example, how could you make differentiation between animal and human?
Sorry.
Why we call us human and then the cat is animal?
DNA.
DNA. Okay, that's really nice. I think maybe that was DNA. That's good one, actually. But DNA, are you sure?
I count us among the
Animal have body, physical body, and then human are human, right? No, I mean maybe that was not really good question, I guess. So let me think something else. Or maybe usually take the table. The collection that we have the leg and we have the plank and we have the and we just label this table. This one we label as a table, right? And this one we don't label as a table. Why not?
Same parts. Put legs off.
Anyway, why I'm saying is like a interdependence of parts and whole, mean table as a whole. And if you look at each part, like the bottom and the top and the plank and the side and the right side or the left side or the, if you just try to look about where's the table, you can pinpoint anywhere. You can pinpoint anywhere, right? Can you? Can you or not? It's just like,
See it as a whole.
or is that?
When you're perceiving it as one object, you can touch it anywhere and you think it's the table. But when you're perceiving it as a whole,
Yeah, but the whole and part, right? When you're seeing, can you see the whole table? Okay, now we can debate this one. You're looking at the table from here, right? Can you see the whole table?
no.
Why not?
I can't.
You can see the whole table.
A person's body is blocking with you. The computer.
Even, right, okay.
The box is blocking some of it.
Uh-huh. That's really good analysis.
So I cannot actually see the whole table, but I perceive that I do.
Yeah, you can perceive table, definitely. Yes, that's correct. That's really good way to looking at it. Whole and part meaning, it's just a collection of the table. It's any parts, the wood or the color or the shade or whatever you call. It's so-called belonging, right? Belong to the table is a part of the table. And the collection of that we call it table. But the collections it just come because just the collection come just only when we put this other parts together. Without the parts, what is that?
You rearrange it. It's
Yeah, without the part, there's no whole. Without the whole, there's no part. But the whole and part, so let's just lay like a, it's called like a base that we label as a table. And labeling also label our mind label it. And there's a label, thought label, and then the verbal label. There's only two. Like when you say label, like our mind, and then verbally we call it table, and then the verbal that came by drive by the thought. I'm going to call this table. Somebody name it, right? Somebody name it. You create new. You invent new thing. For example, the bulb. Who create that bulb? Edison something. Somebody. What was his name? Thomas Edison, right? Thomas Edison, right. And it's create this light bulb, and then he named it bulb instead of iPhone. He could be he could be labeled as like a singing ball instead of bulb. Why not, right? If he label it like a another term, Everybody will call this, and like a singing ball instead of bulb. This. So anyway, this whole and part is a subtler kind of an interdependency, meaning this part depend on the whole part depend. When you try to understand without looking at the part, you can't find you can't really find the whole. Without perceiving the whole, you can't find the label. Everything is just we are mentally creating in a way. But it's really puzzle sort of thing that you could do in debate in this. And in the Madhyamika, maybe in Buddhist philosophy, you have maybe just get this 4 schools. Have you heard that? Write down, maybe good to know sometime. 4 schools thought. There are different, in a school system have different explanation. There's 4 Buddhist in Buddhism you have 4 school system. What are they? Abhashika. It's, I think, Sanskrit term, Vabhashika. No, Vabhashika. I think, yeah, we just say Vabhashika. I'm not really good at, I don't have the right kind of,
Oh, it's a V.
V. It start with V. Vabhashika, Swatantika. I should give you the right term. Sorry, I have the text actually. I think it's good to know this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. One minute, sorry. Okay. Time system. Vabhashika. Okay, Vabhashika. VAI BHASHIKA. Vibhashika, another word, Great Exposition School. Great Exposition School. Vibhashika. Okay, that's Abhidharma's course. Okay, then another one is Swatantika. Yeah, Swatantika. Swatantika is SAUTRANTIKA. Swatantika, or another word, Sutra School. Sutra School. SUTRA. Sutra School. And then the third one is called Chittamatra. CHITTAMATRA. Chittamatra, right? Mind only school. Another word people use is mind only school.
What?
Mind only school. Mind only school. And then the highest one we call Madhyamika. It's middle way. Madhyamika.
You spell that?
Madhyamika. Madhyamika. And that's equal to middle school. Mine only school. This is really fascinating thing. Yeah. Okay, the four schools, out of the four school, we call it the first two are lower school, and then the second two are the higher school. Meanings more explanation, detailed explanation about the interdependency and the emptiness, selflessness. The Lord, the Babachika and Satantika called lower school. And when you say the interdependency, it's only deal with the cause and effect interdependency. It doesn't go to the wholes and parts because this can become a little subtler. And then the Chittamatra or the mind only school, Chittamatra or the mind only school, and then Madhyamika or the middle way school, explain it explain about the reality. The wholes depend on the parts depend on the whole, and then the mere mental designation. Everything is just merely designated by our mind. Nothing is there. But we believe that something is over there and we cling up to that. That's self-grasping ignorance. Another term we call self-grasping ignorance. Have you heard that? Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitudes. These two are the responsible to create all the contaminated thing, all the uneasy thing, all the trouble, all the suffering, all the drama. These two are the men responsible. But then we had to you need to understand how can you really exchange with self-grasping ignorance with the understanding of dependency, and how do you exchange the self-centered attitude with the other cherishing mind. So then you need to study and meditate about the different mind training system. This text actually teach a lot in. Okay, I think we should uh, okay, number 9.
Bhante, could you explain what is the difference between
Yes.
the desire realm and the form realm?
Uh-huh. Desire realms and the form realms. Okay, the form realms, when you meditate on, that seeing the faultiness of the desire realms, where you are suffering of the sensual pleasure, sound, smell, touch, smell, all this. And then by looking that these are not helpful for your mind, instead of that, go to the samadhi, more like a meditate on the meditative concentration. Have you heard that? Meditate. And when you find real kind of shamatha meditation, you have to follow. You have to follow the 9 stages. Single point, yes. Single point meditation, vipassana, with single pointed as well as the vipassana meditation.
Mhm.
And when you're seeking more like the meditative concentration, it's like another called shamatha, right?
Yeah.
When you're really looking inwardly, you're not really running after the external object.
Mhm.
If the external object, too much external object, running after, it bring you suffering. Seeing that and not really looking, running after that, and just looking inwardly, and then build up this meditative concentration well. And you have to go through 9 stages. And then once you see when you really obtain the 9th stage, it's the highest stage of the mind in the desire runs. And after that, you will find like some sort of a plancy. Have you heard that plancy? Plancy. Yeah, plancy of the body and the plancy of the mind.
These stages, are you referring to the jhanas?
I don't know the jhanas. It's
I would say 8 jhanas on the
9 stages are there, but you need to meditate.
Concentration.
Yes,
stage.
yes. It's a meditative concept. I'll show you one day. We have with the depicted how do you really generate, how do you really meditate on that, and how can when you say that you measure that you are really attend this kind of stage. But main thing is now we are doing this really simple, meditation, focusing on your breath. Try to just get familiar to your mind and then just look inwardly and not really do too much distraction, too much kind of excitement, too much kind of dullness. These two main obscuration when you for generating true samadhi. The main obstacles or the main like disturbing mind, or another word, mind wandering. Excite your mind. When your mind is excited too much, it just go everywhere. It's called the monkey mind. It doesn't stay in it doesn't really it does not allow to, it's not allow you to focus on what exactly you were meditating on it. That's excitement. And then another one is if you just sit and thinking nothing and your mind just making like a stone. That's a dullness, mental dullness, mental sinking. You do not allow our mind like go that way, and you have to find the middle way and then meditate clearly. Either you're meditating on impermanent, interdependency, or emptiness. But meditating on interdependency, meditating on emptiness, meditating on bodhicitta, meditating on compassion, these are all analytical meditation. When you say meditation, you have the analytical meditation and then single point meditation. Single point meditation, it really, real meditation, when you're really doing single point meditation, you do not analyze at the beginning. If you analyze, our mind go, it become kind of excited. Not excited, but it's busy. It become busy. So because when your mind become busy, it's not really easy to focus in one object, right? So if you want to build up the, like meditative concentration or the single point meditation, not do not really analyze, but stabilize the mind. And you just breathing on the, sorry, focus on the breathing, or you could have the object of a Buddha or object of any object like easy for you. You could use the flame, or use the butter lamp. You could have a Buddha image. You could have your parents. But the main purpose is just try to remain on the object, the focal object. Just very clearly remain on the object, not really allowed to go another object, not really running after, because it's not easy, right? When you try to focus on the object, your mind goes everywhere, right? But if you train again and again and again and again, and I guess there is that, you can make some improvement to focus on one object. And then, but when you focus, the meaning is remain on one object at the same time, the object make clearer to the mind. And you could see the clearly, for example, take some time, uh, this is interesting. My teacher actually used this, and let's try to that. I try myself, but it doesn't work well. And often asks, pick up anything and just pick up anything with you, anything that you have. And I'm trying to make some understand. Just pick up, and then open your eye, and look at. How do you see? How do you see? Where is it? What is the object? Where is the object?
What is the object?
Where is the object? What do you see? Oh, and another question could answer. What did you see?
Lots of things.
Lots of things. Okay, now.
I can see, it's paper, I can see words, I can see numbers.
Okay, so you see this. Do you see this in your eye, or something else? Are you seeing this object by your eye, or another subject? I mean, subject and object. Okay, this is object, and then there's a subject there. Without a subject, without subject, object doesn't make sense, right? Without subject, object doesn't make sense. It's clear, right? Yeah, it's a doing on each other. That's right.
I'm imagining what I'm looking at and I'm looking at it at the same time.
Okay, then another one is it's nice. Okay, now we look at this open eye, and it you see something there, right? But then you close your eye and think about that same object. Close your eye. Maybe you make try to make our own kind of close your eyes, and then just think about the same object that you have seen earlier. You could close your eyes or open your eyes, whatever you are, whatever is, good for you. I mean, whatever is comfortable to you. Are you able to see or not? See, not so well, right?
Yeah.
When you're looking open eyes, it's something that's very visible. It's more kind of powerful. It's something there, right? But when you look, when you close your eyes and then try to think about the same object, it's just blinking, right?
Well, because it's essentially a memory or a manifestation at that point, 'cause you're physically looking.
Yeah, you're physically not looking at by what? You're physically not looking by what? Which object? Which subject? Meaning the eye or the mind?
Well, the mind is looking, but the eye isn't looking.
Oh, you didn't see your pen by your eyes?
Well, my eye closed, I can't physically see my pen.
Oh,
but I can see it.
right. Oh, good. That's good. Oh, can you see your eye? Can your eye see the pen or not?
Of course, yeah.
The eyeball or the eyelash or the
Well,
mind that connect
I guess
or
I
the
see what you're saying. It allows your brain to
oh
process the image, I
in
guess.
I guess this experiment is you have to try to make the differentiation between the sensory consciousness and the mental consciousness. This is what I am trying to figure out with this experiment. When you're looking, open your eye, looking it, and eye consciousness definitely see, and the eye consciousness, in order to able to an eye consciousness to perceive this object, it's also have to have this the three conditions need to be present. The object, the immediate preceding consciousness, and then the eye sense power. These are Buddhist psychology studies.
Yeah.
With these three conditions, you are able to see the object with your eye consciousness. Okay, otherwise not. For example, take a blind person. Can blind person can see object or not?
No.
No, right? How come they can write? There's so many areas you can do a lot of research. There could be benefit people to understand about the mind, right? They can write really beautifully, and some people who are like from birth, they are deaf, right? And they can't hear well, but their mind is so sharp, and then they can't hear at all, but somehow they learn how to read and write, and they are able to communicate with the writing, right? So these are something miracle things are there. What do you call it? Miracle, or I don't know. Not miracle. It's more like a what?
Compensation.
I don't know what word that. Anyway, this experiment is pretty helpful in a way when you're saying this, and you
I have a question.
yes.
So I was thinking about the mental consciousness and the eye.
Uh-huh.
So an eye will only see in two dimensions.
I.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you have this eye seeing in two dimensions, this eye seeing in two dimensions,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right.
And that's all you have is two-dimensional images projected on your retinas.
Mm-hmm.
Is the mental consciousness the thing that takes those two things, puts them over each other, and creates three-dimensionality?
Men-
Eye consciousness.
That's
When the eye consciousness see the two dimension, when you say dimension, I guess it's like
paper.
no, well, another thing here. eye consciousness can see only color and shape. You have to debate this. I know when you say dimension and the different thing, and then from the in modern scientific point of view about this, what the eye consciousness can see, what the ears can hear, what the nose can smell. Eye consciousness can see only color and shape, but this is the classical text, explanation.
Mhm.
Color and shape. And then also the mental consciousness can perceive color and shape too. But the mental consciousness receive the information by sensory consciousness, get the information and then transfer to the mental consciousness immediately. And then when you say about the memory, on when you study Buddhist psychology, we have like the division about the mind, 2 classification, 7 classification. There are different things are there. So each one, each one have like a different how you really perceive things. And there are people who make some kind of pic, or we call like image, how you really interact with, for example, taking this eye consciousness. This is the object, that is the eye, and then the eye sense power. And the eye sense power is the what do you call the retina? Whether the retina is a sense power or not, you have to question it. I know.
No, the thing that I was,
Uh-huh.
was like, so then, okay, if, you know, this I see is light in color, shape and color, and this I see shape and color, then what is it that is creating my sense of a spatial reality?
What was that? Sorry. Uh, what are you creating?
Well, no, I'm not, it's.
Yeah.
it,
It's very good.
Yeah, it's, they, so, yeah, like, I know that, that what I see before me
Uh-huh.
is not flat.
Uh-huh.
I know that, 1 foot in front of me, it's a meditation cushions,
Uh-huh.
and a couple of feet up there, another.
You could see different things at the same time, yeah, simultaneously. With your eye consciousness, you could see like different things at the same time. Meaning, when you the label about your the 2 dimension.
Mhm.
What does that mean? I'm not really kind of convinced about the understanding about the dimension that translating into. Uh,
One dimension would be point.
One dimension the point, and then.
And,
Uh-huh.
yeah, just like a pinpoint,
Oh, okay. Dot, yeah.
but infinitesimally small,
Infinitesimal small.
like, it's conceptual.
If it is conceptual, then eye consciousness have no ability to see it.
Then,
When you say conceptual, right?
right,
Conceptual is always mental consciousness rather than sensory consciousness. You can't see.
no, we can't see in 1 dimension, we can see in 2 dimensions. 2 dimensions is a line, it's a plane of reality.
Just like a piece of paper, there's this dimension
Mhm.
and then that dimension.
Yeah, that's.
It's just kind of a mathematical construct to model like how many dimensions you need to describe an object.
No, I get that.
I think what he's saying is what makes your mind fill in the blanks and know that it's 3 dimensional.
That's exactly it.
Okay. You have only 2 dimension, why not 3 or 4? Does not exist?
We move in 3 dimensions. 'Cause
Yeah.
We got this direction, and
Oh,
this direction.
I see. Okay. Mathematical thing. I see. And time. And then time. Okay. That's
Okay,
good.
this
It's really good.
This is the thinking that I'm working on, is, so the eye is seeing all of this stuff, and it's not interpreting all of this stuff. Something else is interpreting it, and
Something else interpreting, whether it's the brain or the mind, whether the brain interpreting. Sorry.
Like what makes us know, like our brain sees it, our eyes see everything, but essentially we see it as flat, but our brain knows that it goes forward,
I guess the brain receives the information from outside, right? the brain receives the information. I don't know whether way the chemical reaction or the like a signal that you receive, electrical signal or the chemical signal that reach to the brain and then say, yes, this is it. It is the field to study, whether that's really, the brain is responsible or the mind itself. And mind is non-physical, another one. Brain is physical. And we need to study more about whether the mind could be physical or not. This is the whole area we need to study. And Buddhist explanation, or not only Buddhist, but many ancient, ancient religious tradition, Hinduism, and then there are many other non-Buddhist school in ancient India, where they explain about the mind is non-physical. It's just kind of in the form of a kind of energy, could be in the form of energy, but non-physical. And then it had the power that perceives everything. So then, yes, definitely. Why I said about the brain and the sensory consciousness may have some, looks like there is, close sort of correlation between the sensory consciousness, gross sensory consciousness, I would say that. Gross sensory consciousness rather than the consciousness itself. Another word in Tibetan called Gongye Wangshi. Yeah, it's a sensory, five sensory consciousness, yeah. This is the gross five sensory consciousness may have very close correlation with the brain. The brain stimuli, and then the skin, and they explain a lot about this receptor. You have so many receptors everywhere, and it's a receive you, and that's because of that you feel coldness, you feel hotness, you feel la 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 whatever. So it must have this kind of close connection, but whether these are consciousness or not, you have to study more. And what is it when you're asking about, my eye consciousness, see the two dimension, and then when you're looking open eye and looking and the closed eye and thinking, you can make the differences, right, or not? I think we can make the differences are there. There's a big differences there. And when you meditate and not completely close, this is really important. When you completely close your eyes, but since we are beginner, meaning we are really beginner, if you completely close, you can tell that our mind just sink. Can you try to that? Just when you're open, if you're kind of active, you could do things like that. You are quite active. When you completely close your eye, somehow feeling like doom. And then if possible, try to meditate, try to focus on the one single point, single object, and just to remain on that object. Could be 1 second, 2 seconds, or maybe 1 minute. Try very clearly, focus on that same object. If, open eyes or half open, it's really helpful, I think. And try our best to not really, just let it, what do you call it? Ignore that what you hear, what you see, what you smell. Just try to the mental consciousness focus on the object, not completely close eye and not completely open. If you completely close, mind just sink. If you really widely open, excitement come. Completely close, dullness come. And then
Immediately close them all.
half closed. This is very important, I think. We don't want to make our mind dullness. We are already dull anyway, so we don't.
Focus on,
Yes,
when you focus on an object. Does it have to be like a physical object, or could it be a sound?
could be sound.
Okay. That's fine.
Anything,
That's fine.
anything.
You know, like,
Yes.
Every real quiet, I'll listen for that, that hiss in the air.
Right.
Just focus on that hiss in the air,
Yeah. Whatever object is comfortable for your mind, you could use that an object of your, single point meditation. Single point meditation. Maybe just stick with the word single point meditation, meaning you have to focus very precisely. Singly meaning you just try to focus only one object, not many. And if you think too many, then our mind scatter, and then you won't be able to build up this, stability. So that's why you're saying about the form realms and formless realms. It's just a realms there, but it's a mental state in a way. When you achieve like true samadhi, your mind could become the formless realms mind, but we are in the desire realms physically, we are in desire realm, but our mind can transfer into the formless realm mind, meaning you have established true samadhi, meditative concentration.
So
Yeah.
pliancy is the threshold to the form realm.
Right. You need to study more, more about that. I'm trying. I'm really beginner, but I'm trying, and I can see there is something that we need to do it. And then you have to study continuously for like whatever time take, doesn't matter.
The Buddha said
Yes.
that when fourth jhana,
Uh-huh.
you see all your past lives.
Clairvoyance, so these are there definitely. There are like 6 different. Yes. It's actually clairvoyance. So we call like there are the different eyes. Another term you given like a 5, 6 different eyes. Not really the physical, the eye senses, but there's eyes, meaning wisdom or knowledge that you could see past, future, and very subtle thing. Clairvoyance, another word, clairvoyance, we use it. You could see that you're like a past life and the future life, and you could also see what is going on in his mind. It's called also like a clairvoyance, that's seeing other people's mind. And if someone who are able to see what is going on in other people's mind, and if that person is very compassionate, he can do a lot to help for that person with the compassion and seeing having the attaining the clairvoyance at the same time. Good compassionate person, you can help a lot. This is how all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva, all the enlightened beings intentionally come back to this like suffering world to help. They seize the needs. Yeah, I think we have only 5 minutes, and let's maybe study a little more, read few times more of the verse number 9, and then if you have the commentaries, try to read and relate it. It's a the just understanding it's, but it has to go a little. I don't want to go very much kind of technical way. It actually is more like the first 7 verses are more like introduction, and then the 8th one is really starting from the 8th, it's actually the starting the actual practice. First 7 verses, actually you're preparing, entering into the real practice and real studies. And then from the number 8, it's actually you're going deeper, meaning we are trying to understand what is suffering, unbearable suffering. You talk about the verse number 8, where you say that the subjurer said all the unbearable suffering of bad rebirth in the fruit of wrong doing, therefore, even at the cost of your life, never do wrong. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. And verse number 9, where you say, like dew on the tip of the blade of grass, pleasures of the 3 worlds last only while and then vanish. Aspire to the never changing supreme states of liberation. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. And you need to just understand unbearable suffering. And when you say unbearable suffering, just think about the 3 different types of suffering, and then just using our own life and example. This is suffering, but then what can you do? I don't want to stay with this suffering anymore. And then you have to find the causes. What are the causes of the suffering? I will work with the causes of suffering instead of in the immediate. Of course, immediate you have to. If you have, if you have illness, you have to go to the doctor and get the medicine. You have to be really practical. But for long run, try to rid of the causes. What are the causes? Greed, explain this the contaminated thing. So that's why it says you are really actually, we are trying to moving into the more profound and more subtler practice. And when you in the verse number 8 where you say rebirth, you don't have to force yourself to believe into the rebirth system. Just think about you're on this very life, an example, and check on when you were born, little baby, and then grow slowly, baby to, I don't know, teenager, and then adolescent, and then adult, and then getting older, and then at the end you're dying, right? And there's so much ups and downs in this period of, like, let's say 60 years or 70 years or 80 years. You can just use them like, oh, even though you haven't taken like a completely new kind of form or new life, but the continuities keep changing, right? It's it's just connecting next the first period to the next. And it's, what was that, something?
Just a trailer.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so maybe if you time, read a little bit and then give thought on it, and then do this about, try to bring some changes in your mind. If you can transform your mind to from the wrong thing to the better way or right thing, I think 100% sure that we will find good happiness, real happiness in little life, and you will not regret when you die. And just happily die. The great practitioner die happy to die, because they want to have the new body, more energetic body, and then they can do more. Yeah, it's true. It says it's not only just a story; it is reality. Okay, so I think we stop here today with just mentally dedicate, or if you have words you can say, but I want to just dedicate to whatever the merit meaning positive atmosphere, or something that helpful for ourselves and others that we have created with this discussion, and dedicate that to find peace and happiness for oneself and others, and then all the uh, great beings who are here to serve beings to free from suffering and find the happiness, that live long, so that the noble or the activities expand for the entire world, entire universe in a way. And yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for coming, and
Um,
enjoy.
I want to say that we are having a meeting for people that are going to help set up for it's everyone's birthday party next Sunday. So, and also please come help yourself to some tea and